Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we have the Fool. You are somebody with a very kind of playful nature right now. I feel like you're kind of there's a joy in you. You know, there's kind of a leaping laughter here that I'm feeling with you right now. And I wonder if this is like an uncontainable excitement. This is kind of like a spontaneity, right? I feel like your life is being taken through a major upgrade. And I feel like this is kind of you in this new realm, like kind of in a new land, you know. I don't know if you're starting something new or if this is like we're finally getting to the goal and this is the feeling of being on the other side of it, you know. That we're getting out of perhaps a very difficult time. Maybe we're emerging from a period of darkness, and this is that leaping laughter, right? This is us kind of starting again. I feel like there's a renewal taking place in you. I feel like it's a spiritual rebirth in a way. And I feel like it's kind of opening up a whole new sort of opportunity for you, a whole new realm, a new land where you can figure yourself out more, and you can, maybe it's like, kind of like when we're reinventing ourselves, you know? Anyway, let's put this card into a little bit of context. Context is everything. Okay, now we are literally leaping into something new, okay? We have a Knight of Wands, we have a Princess of Cups, we have a Princess of Pentacles, we have an Eight of Pentacles, and ooh, look at that, Nine of Cups, happiness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We are being released from something that didn't work out. Okay, I think that maybe this is really like, because it's a, you know, the Princess of Pentacles, to me feels like it was an investment maybe that maybe this is us leaping out of something, right? Because I wonder if this was something that we were invested in that didn't really, we kind of had this gut feeling like it's not really going anywhere, right? So I feel like this is us kind of starting fresh. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah, we've got the Hermit. Sure, that makes sense to me. We have a Seven of Swords, we have an Ace of Swords, and we have a Knight of Cups. Yeah. So we're trusting in the feeling that we're getting, and we're leaping into action based on this feeling, okay? I feel like what we are doing is, I feel like we're questioning our investment here. We're saying, is this really where I want to be? Is this really something that I see has a future? Okay, I think that we're sort of we're having this sort of conversation with ourselves about like, which way should I go? Do I stay here, and do I just keep putting all my energy into this and hope for the best? Right? Maybe the Eight of Pentacles here is too much of the same old. It's too much repetition. It's too much like it's too much of the same thing every day and not enough progress, you know? Sometimes it's the monotony and the routine of something that really sort of gets us down, you know? We'll get into all these cards individually. First, mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. We got a volunteer. Oh, it's a Six of Swords. See, look at that. So our mystery card is just going to go right over here with Mr. Ed, the little horse, right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. But it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. Now, as we look around the room, we see two major arcana energies. We see the Fool and we see the Hermit. Okay, so the hermit's kind of your general energy, and it kind of to me feels like we're walking away from something. Okay, we're trusting in our own inner light. We're walking away from something, and I think we're going to feel free. Okay, this is a freedom, and even the Six of Swords is saying that too. We're putting distance between ourselves and where we were. I think this is becoming further and further into the past. This seems like something that did not grow. Okay, this feels like something we were investing in, and we're realizing now that, you know what, I'm not seeing the growth that I really would be hoping for. It feels like it's a lot of effort being put into this, but there's nothing bearing fruit here. What we're hoping for is, we don't mind hard work. We want to invest in something. We want to put in the work, and we want to have the fruit too. This is a sterile and barren landscape. This did not bear fruit. Okay. The Six of Swords is seeing us sailing away from this past thing, not with any kind of certainty or any kind of plan or direction, but just like worried and like, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I'm going that way. I'm going in that direction anyway. See, all of our swords are on the boat. All of our worries, all of our concerns, all of our doubts, right? They're on the boat with us. And that's okay, because I don't have clarity yet. But I'm not going to let the lack of clarity prevent me from doing something that I kind of feel in my heart is the right move. Okay? So, anyway, we've got our two majors. We've got fire right here in the middle. That's what it's calling for. Spirit saying, hey, it's time to act. It's time to act. We got water, water, water. We've got air. And we got earth. Okay? So we don't really know, like, we don't have a certainty. And that's just the thing. We're lacking this ace in a way, we're lacking the Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords is mental clarity, but to me it also is when we connect with the intuition, when we stop trying to use our mind, our intellect, to solve every problem, and we trust in the universe, we trust in the feeling. Okay? But intellectually, we don't have any kind of certainty. I don't know the right answer. And that's the problem with life. That's the problem with every decision. I don't know for certain that this is the right choice. I could go that way, I could go that way, but I don't know for sure which is the right direction. Something else has to inform us, because my logic is going to have a list of reasons why I should say yes, a list of reasons why I should say no. Now, how do we choose? We have to tap into the intuition. That's why the tip of the sword is in outer space. Right? Spirit's referencing yogurt, or I don't know, if Greek yogurt or something like that, or maybe like probiotics or something like that in your life, like you just started doing that, or something along those lines. Anyway, and you need a battery, but the battery's missing, like one of those, like a AA or something, right? Anyway, I don't know what the references are. The tip of the sword is in outer space, receiving the signal from the divine to show you what the right path is. And it's something that's going to come through not your mind necessarily. It's not going to be a voice in your ear that's saying the right answer is to make a left turn. Okay, well, I know. It doesn't really work that way. I think it's something that kind of wells up in you as a feeling. And that's what we have here. This is what's welling up in you as a feeling. It's the Princess of Cups. It's something inside of you that's saying, hey, I need to act. Things cannot stay the same right now. I need to change something because this isn't bearing fruit for me now. Okay? This, on the other hand, is. Now, the Knights are always looking at the future. We're taking action that's going to bring us the Nine of Cups. Okay? And I think this is really significant. So the Fool and the Knight of Wands, this is a very powerful combination. These two get together and, oh boy, a lot of impulsive behavior, but a lot of laughs too, because I feel like it's just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants in some way. I feel like we're just going all in. We're just kind of taking like we're taking a leap of faith kind of here, a leap of faith into the future, away from what wasn't working toward what we hope will. Toward our dreams, toward our wishes, our hopes, our desires, and aspirations, right? I think we're taking a chance on ourselves. This is, again, kind of a leap of faith. But it's a leap, it's not an ignorant leap. It's a leap where we're feeling the instinct and we're choosing kind of a concentrated thing and we're taking a jump. Okay? With the Knight of Wands, the horse and the rider have to be one unit. Because the Fool, as it is, the Fool just wants to the Fool wants novelty. The Fool is ready for something new. But what we really need to make it work is we need to be fully on board. We need to have, like, spirit and flesh need to be together as one, right? Trusting each other. Just like the horse and the rider, they have to trust each other. If we don't trust the horse is going to know, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be all bad, right? We're going to get thrown from the horse, probably fall down. We have to trust our instinct. The conscious mind has to trust those unconscious feelings, that gut, right? And when we do, I think we are sort of propelled forward without any, and our mind is saying, like, wait a minute, no, I don't believe in this. I haven't done the math yet. I haven't done the calculations. That's our Seven of Swords. But see, we're putting our Seven of Swords on the boat. We're saying, okay, all these doubts, all these worries, all the uncertainty can come with us, but we're going. See, we're heading downstream following the feeling. That's why we're on the waters, right? We're the boat. Okay, our physical energy, our physical life is the boat. The water is our feeling, our emotion, the intuition, the unconscious. The boat kind of has to trust the water has to trust the boat. We got to trust the boat, that it can float. We're propelling forward with our will, the staff, the rod, right, and that thing. And that is, of course, the fire energy. We are keeping the air energy on the boat. We're taking our worries with us, but we're not letting our worries, our doubt, our confusion, or our self-criticism drive the boat. Okay, the will is driving the boat. The will and the body, spirit and flesh, are together as one. And that's, the will is pushing the body forward and riding on the waves of the emotions, the sort of intuitive, the gut feeling, right? And the swords are coming along for the ride. It's kind of like the mind. I just see the mind as like this little professor, like with glasses, that's just saying, well, I don't really agree with this. I don't know that this is going to work. I have my doubts, and I just want to make sure that everybody hears me. And the will and the body and the heart are saying, yeah, we hear you. Just keep it down. Don't rock the boat, But we want that kind of professor energy there because we're going to need it. We're going to need the logic, and we're going to need the analysis of things. But we're not going to let it drive the boat. Okay? Kind of feel like we have two mystery cards here. Anyway, the Eight of Pentacles is the card of patience and routine and, something bearing fruit. This is what we're hoping for one thing, that we would put in a lot of effort for something and it would bear fruit for us, that it would work, that it would be something that confirms itself. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. Well, if there's no pudding, then all that effort, where did it go, right? But this is also a quality of your character. You're a patient person. You don't just do something for a day or two and say, it didn't work, I'm out of here, right? I think you gave this a lot of chances. I think that you put in a lot of effort. You showed up every day. You tended the garden very responsibly every day. And it's not really your fault that it's not bearing fruit. But this card is here to point out that you gave it a lot of chances. You put in enough effort that if you're ready to leap away, you're totally justified in doing so. Even if you didn't. Even if you just you get there for a day and you say, ew, I don't like it, I'm out of here. That's okay too. But what Spirit is saying is that you put in a lot of days already. You put in a lot of work. Like, no one could say that you didn't give it a chance, And I think this is really, really positive. The Nine of Cups, though, future position. This is abundance and joy and fruit, right? On the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative planes. This is a happy life. To me, it feels like you are leaving something that didn't bear fruit in order to pursue your happiness and follow your bliss. Now, this could have been maybe a path, a job, a career. It could be a relationship. It could be a particular location where you lived. It could be any kind of investment that you're putting your energy, effort, time, money, everything into. It didn't pan out. And you're kind of saying, you're not quitting. You're making a choice to pursue something that is more worthwhile for you, something that resonates with you, something that has a meaning and a purpose for you. This seems like it was not it. This did not have what you need, and that's okay. All right? And you realize that you're not just trying to be impulsive. I think the way you work is that you may have these feelings like, oh, I feel like I want to do something different now. But instead of just going immediately into it and just following our fleeting emotions of the moment and saying, yeah, let's go jump into something else, I think we waited. We put space between the feeling and the behavior, right? Because this is the Princess of Cups. It's feeling and behavior like that, right? It's instantaneous. It's kind of like it's like a Princess of Wands. It's impulse to action. This is feeling to behavior. That I'm just, however I feel, that's how I'm going to act. Well, that's not always smart, is it? So what you did was you paused. You gave it some more time. You said, okay, I feel this way. I'm going to wait another week or two and see what happens, see how I feel, right? So we put space between the feeling and the behavior, the corresponding, reactive behavior. We put some time. And that's the Eight of Pentacles. And since we did that, now we're ready to leap. Now we know for sure that I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a plan. I still have my doubts about everything. I don't know anything about life, really, right? But I know that I'm leaping away from this, and I'm going to go pursue my happiness and my bliss, right? I want to follow my dream because it's leading me in a different direction now. Path of the Serpent. We're going to start with the Hermit card. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. The Hermit is the one who can trust the inner light and walk away from something. Going our own way. Okay? Not being lured back to something by emotional manipulation. Not being lured back to something by our own internal doubts or reservations, our own confusion, or our own internal criticism or external criticism. It's kind of like no one can persuade you to do other than what your light is telling you to do. What your star, your spirit, God, goddess, deity, any of that stuff, right? Now, Spirit's saying something about your watch. You got a new watch, you lost your watch, broke your watch, or it stopped running. Something. Maybe that's where you need the battery. I don't think it'd be a double A though, would it? But something about your watch is either stopped or it isn't telling you the time anyway, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. The Hermit is going off trail. The Hermit has decided to look elsewhere for what it needs, And this is your general energy. And so this to me feels like we are shielding ourselves from any of the haters, any of the naysayers, any of the critics that might be sort of admonishing us for doing something, but we know we're going in the right direction. We know that we have to follow our own light. Of course, we're dealing with the Seven of Swords in the environment. So to me, it feels like there are probably other people around you that are saying, oh, you're making a big mistake. Oh, you don't want to do that. Oh, you don't, And I think that some of that starts to creep into us, and we start thinking, I don't know where I'm going. I don't really know what's on this trail. Well, of course, the Hermit is going off trail. And that's, by definition, it means there's no trail there. So we're making our own trail as we go. Of course there's going to be uncertainty and doubt. Of course our intellect is going to say, no, don't go that way. There are no road signs. There's no road at all. No one's ever been that way through the forest before. And so it's totally understandable. But the Hermit has to do that because that's where the intuition, that's where your light is showing you. Okay? I think as we take steps on the path, we are cutting our own way through the jungle. And so we're creating a path as we go. We're going to bring our doubts and our concerns with us. We're going to bring our worries. But we're not going to let them drive the boat. We're going to use them to try to sort through things and come to more clarity, come to a deeper understanding, see if we can have some insights about things. But we can't We can't succumb to the external criticism. We certainly can't succumb to the internal criticism and stay in something like the Princess of Pentacles situation when it is no longer serving our best interest. Okay? Now, who's got the stained glass? Spirit's showing me a bunch of stained glass somewhere. I don't know if it's on a kind of a church or a temple or something, or if it's something just on your door or your house or something, yeah? Your mind will try to convince you to stay here, even though in your heart, in your gut, in your soul, you know that this is not where you need to be anymore. It's familiar. And so for some reason, human beings like to stay where it's familiar, even if it's not the best, most ideal place. It's familiar. It's safer than going out into the unknown, going out into the dark, scary forest where we don't know what the heck's out there. So it makes more sense. Stay where you know. Stay where you already know how to survive in that situation. Going out into a new place or going off trail feels kind of foolish, right? Now, the Ace of Swords is, again, it's in the position of the difficulty. It's difficult for you to sometimes trust your intuition. It's difficult for you to turn off the 6 or the 7 of Swords, the 6 or the 7, right? Because the 6 of Swords is this idea of having a plan. Okay, let's not forget that aspect of the 6 of Swords. So by turning off all of the air energy and just letting that divine influence come into us and inform us, it may say, I know which direction to go. I don't know why I know it. I don't know anything else about it, but this is where I'm feeling. This is like the needle of the compass, okay, showing you which way to go. And it's being pulled by something. Okay, you know when you see it on these survival shows where they get some static electrical charge built up on a needle, then they put that needle on like a leaf and they put it in some still water and it'll spin and show you which way's north. That's kind of like this. It's like, I don't know how I know, but we should walk that way, right? It's like, okay, I mean, might as well trust that because I can't figure out a plan otherwise. The logic, the intellect can't determine exactly which way to go right now. We don't have a roadmap. We're off trail, right? The best thing we can rely on is the intuition, no matter how fuzzy it might be sometimes, okay? The intuition, when it is a pure and clear signal from the divine, it will never lead you in the wrong direction, okay? Now, the Knight of Cups here is, it's kind of like it's our hope for the future in a way. It's passion. It's the giving and receiving of love and affection. It is us giving and receiving the fruit of our labor. Okay? So to me, it feels like we understand what's out there for us. We know that life can be beautiful and abundant and blissful in every dimension. And we're going to go out and we're going to pursue that. We're going to find the Holy Grail. We're going to set off on this adventure no matter how long it takes us or sort of how far away from home. We're going to pursue that. Okay? Because what else is life about than finding our destiny, unfolding our destiny? You know, figuring out why we're here and who we are, what we're all about, what we're meant to do. And furthermore, finding situations, locations, relations that allow us to connect with people, connect with each other, connect with ourselves. This card is about connection. We're giving of ourselves to others and they're giving, there's an exchange, see? So back here, there was nothing being exchanged. It wasn't working. Moving forward, we know what kind of feeling tone we want our future to have. We may not be able to see the unfolding of the plan. I may not have the turn-by-turn MapQuest directions, but I know what kind of life I want it. I know how I want it to feel, you know? And I'm sort of going to navigate by that feeling because that's going to be my internal, my spiritual GPS, you know, that internal compass is going to come from, it's going to be in the heart, yeah? Anyway, let's check in with our mystery card. Let's see what this is going to be. I'm expecting fully like Empress or a 10 of Pentacles. The Empress would be like what we wanted this to be, Because the Princess of Pentacles could transform into the Empress. Doesn't always work. Not every seed we plant bears fruit, right? So if this is the Empress, or this might be the High Priestess, right? The intuition itself. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what we've got. And we've got the Emperor, the Aries energy. This is good. This is a double shot of Aries energy. It's saying you are in control of your boat. Nothing else is controlling your boat but you, your will, right? It's the fire, it's the wand here that's steering the boat, that's pushing the boat forward, propelling the boat and steering. And that is a reference to the fire energy. Both of these are Aries power cards. I'd watch the Aries reading if I were you. At least watch the last one and the next one to see if it applies to your situation, okay? But this is you taking ownership and you taking control of your life. And you implementing these changes and you like making these upgrades, whatever they are, going after what you believe to be right for you, leaving behind what's not meant for you, and taking ownership and taking responsibility and understanding in no uncertain terms that no one can do that for you. Now you have to be in control of your boat, all right? With Spirit is the GPS. Spirit is that the needle of the compass, right, pointing you in the right direction. I like it. We're going to do an extended reading, okay? And because this is a bonus reading, we're just going to jump right into the extended. But if you want to join the channel, become a member, and you want to see the extended readings for all of the other readings that we do, you can click on the link in the corner, or there's also a link in the video description. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards. Okay. New readings for Scorpio usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays. This is, like I said, a bonus reading. I feel like you needed this. Okay. So I hope it resonated with you to some degree. Be sure to watch both of your other readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together. Good, you're still here. Thank you for joining me for the extended. We're going to just get right into it, okay? We're going to do the I Ching hexagram. We're going to do our oracle cards and tarot cards. We're going to leave this stuff here because I want to see how the energy develops and what kind of details emerge. Your hexagram today is hexagram 53, gradual progress. Gradual progress. Things are built up one step at a time. And I think that you know that, okay? And I think that's why if you're making this decision, it's not one that was easy for you to make, okay? You gave it a lot of time. You went step by step, and you maybe got pretty far along in this path before you said, oh, hey, it's not for me anymore, okay? On the top of the mountain, there's a tree. Gradual progress. The noble one, accordingly, maintains exemplary virtue to elevate the unrefined. Gradual progress. The maiden's engagement is auspicious. It's rewarding perseverance. Okay. Advancing by degrees. It says, maintain your virtue to be a positive influence and example to others. It's good to begin a process of committing to something gradually and staying persistent. We may just be being ourselves, doing our best and minding our business, but this is a position from which to set a good example. The metaphor ties in with the subsequent image of wild geese who mate for life, right? The formalities and protocols established by society or evolution keep us busy for life. If we want to progress in this manner, progress is made one step at a time. The proper union of forces within the psyche is a matter of slow maturation. Maintain your will, transform your psyche. Gradual development, gradual progress. Okay, and I think really it's sort of a a reference to the beginning situation, right? That you sort of committed yourself to this, and you've been working on that gradual progress, sticking with it, grinding away day after day to make something work. And it really is, it's not an easy thing for you to then say, I need to start something new. I need to begin again. Okay, whether this is a relationship or a project or a painting that you're painting, right? Doesn't matter. But being the example, it's kind of like being the emperor, because the emperor isn't going to stick with something just because it's committed to it and doesn't want to like lose face or lose pride by having to leap away, right? By having to start from scratch. The emperor might just say, well, I need to just stay and commit to this because, you know, it's too late for me to do anything different. It's too late for me to start over, right? Being the example for others is the emperor saying, I have to be strong enough, and I have to be virtuous enough to admit when something didn't work and I need to start over. That is really being the example, not being somebody that can commit to something 1,000% even when it stops working, and we just pretend that it does, or we just kind of say, well, that's my fate, that's my destiny, or because I made a promise, now I have to stay with that thing for the rest of my life and always be doing it. I think the true virtue and example is our ability to say, it didn't work, it wasn't for me, I need to start over, I need to start something new. And that's okay. That is the virtue, right? And I think that's what the I Ching is trying to get at. You know, it's there's virtue in committing to something and seeing it through, and there's virtue in sort of admitting that this isn't growing the way I thought it was, and I need to go in a different direction. Let's do an angel number as a mystery card. We're going to do an oracle of empowerment. The adventure of life. I embrace the adventure of my life. Today I am courageous enough to try something difficult to achieve my goals. Yeah, you're going off trail, right? And I feel like this is the adventure of life, and that's what the hermit is sort of doing. And it's kind of like you got the backpack on and you're ready to go. Okay, so we're doing something difficult, and I think that's kind of the name of the game. It maybe would be easy to stay here because again, this is familiar. We already know kind of our way around. We're courageous enough to try something difficult. Okay, let's do an oracle of the radiant sun. And we've got the negotiation. I think that you've tried to work it out with this thing or person or this project or this company or whatever. But now the negotiation seems like it's going to be more about, it's going to deteriorate. Like it's kind of reaching that point where there's nothing that they can say that's going to convince you otherwise. And so they're going to resort probably to like emotional tactics. Or, the conversation's going to devolve a little bit. Okay. And regardless of the negotiation, I think you're trying to stay committed to the decision that you made. Even though we don't have, see, this is in the middle, there's an Ace of Swords here, just like this one. But this one is now bombarded with all these other signals. So we're trying to stay on our Ace of Swords, but there's all these other sort of things, energies, people, all these other arguments kind of being thrown our way. Okay. We're going to do an oracle of creativity. Introspection. It's often necessary to deepen our awareness of the unity and divinity of life. You've got to search within and ask yourself, what is your soul really telling you? And, well, the Princess of Cups, this is the introspection, and even the Hermit is doing the introspection, right? To say, what is my soul really telling me? Well, it's telling me that I got to do the difficult thing right now. I got to be courageous, and I got to try something difficult to achieve my goals. And the goal being, of course, the Nine of Cups. We're going to do an oracle of Metatron, the codependency, the key to freedom. Again, there's this attachment to the past because it's familiar, even though we know that going in our own direction, going off trail, could possibly lead to more happiness, probably will, right? There's still this kind of attachment to what is familiar and what this old situation was, even if we know that this is not as good as what could be in the future. So we're kind of, I don't know if it's codependency necessarily with another person, but it's the same way that, like, I don't want to leave my terrible job because, well, it's scary to leave my comfortable job, even though I don't like it. I know that a better job's out there for me, but I'm already here. I'm already settled in. It's already comfortable. I'm already relatively familiar with everybody. Like, it's hard for us to detach from that and go and do something kind of new and unknown, Let's do the Path of the Serpent with the Pamela Smith Tarot, also called the Rider-Waite. I like to call it the Pamela Smith Tarot. We've got the Two of Pentacles, change, right? Moving in a new direction now. The Three of Cups, celebration. Friends, togetherness. I think this is the abundance. This is one of the dimensions of the Nine of Cups, right? Is three, and three. So that, to me, feels like something's bearing fruit here now. We have the Temperance card, which is, of course, doing the difficult thing. Sometimes our intuition, sometimes the compass, the spiritual GPS, is going to lead us through some difficult terrain. That's part of the adventure of life, though. If the terrain were easy, it wouldn't really be hiking, would it? It would just be like walking. It'd be nothing. It wouldn't be the adventure. So the Temperance card is the pressure cooker. It's the blacksmith's anvil. It is moving into a challenging situation, knowing that it's going to be challenging, but it's the kind of challenge I want because it's going to mold me and shape me into who I want to become. And of course, we have the Two of Wands, which at the end of the day, it is your choice whether you want to use your will to push yourself forward or stay where we are and stay fixed to the life that we already have. Okay. Now, your angel number, mystery card, 1919, cycles, karma, warning, judgment, influence, power, cycles, changes, and rebirth. Karma will be paying you a visit. Release the need to control because you can't force things. Learn your lessons so that they don't repeat in the future. Make some space for new experiences. Yeah, learn your lesson here so that we don't have to do this again. The making space for new experiences, of course, is our Fool energy. And that's what the Fool is ready to do, to be released from this old thing and that we don't have to do it again. But the codependency card in the future is kind of saying, like, do we have a habit of getting ourselves into the same kind of situations? Maybe this is something that we're really trying to break free of so we can have that Fool, that kind of freedom of the Fool that says, I don't have any baggage anymore. The Fool is someone that's kind of like, has already like untied all their karma and now is free. I don't have to repeat that cycle anymore. To me, it feels like you're being liberated. It feels like major upgrades are coming. But it feels like it's a liberation. It's getting off of this cycle, right? We got to learn the lesson so we don't have to repeat this. So we don't we don't find ourselves in another situation that we put a lot of time, effort, energy, and or money into, only to realize that it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't for me. It wasn't meant for me. And so we're learning to trust the intuition more and more and more so that it can steer us clear of these same kinds of situations and we don't fall into that pattern. We don't have to repeat the cycle. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you greatly. I love you deeply. And I hope to see you again very soon.